Every single day, somebody spends $1,200 on an air rifle and gets outgunned by a $200 box off Amazon. Nobody tells you that. Look, the airgun industry does not want you to know how far this technology has trickled down. Regulators, rotary mags, bottles that hold pressure like a bank vault. 5 years ago, that tech lived in rifles you needed a loan to buy. Now, it is sitting in a cardboard box on your porch, and half the guys buying it do not even know what they have. Here is the deal. I pulled the 5 PCP rifles quietly dominating the sales charts right now. Not the flashy ones. The ones actually moving units, month after month. One of them will humble a rifle twice its price. One of them almost got left off this list, until I saw what it does at 4,500 PSI. And number one. Number one is going to make you rethink everything you thought PCP meant. 5 rifles, 0 fluff. Let's get into it. Moving on. We start at the bottom of this list, but do not let that fool you. Rank 5 is the Umarex Notos Carbine, and honestly, this is the rifle that broke the entry level wide open. Street price sits around $260 to $270. Pocket change in this hobby, and yet it is packing tech that used to be reserved for guns 3 times the cost. Here is the mechanic's insight. Buried inside that stubby little frame is a fully functional regulator, factory set at 1,900 PSI. Think of it like a pressure gate. The main bottle can be sitting anywhere from full down toward empty, but the regulator only lets a fixed, exact slug of air through the valve on every single shot. That is why the shot string stays flat instead of curving up and down like older unregulated guns. You are not fighting inconsistent power. You are shooting the same number, shot after shot after shot. Under the hood, the bottle itself only holds 66 cc's. Small tank. But paired with that regulator, you are still getting right around 21 honest full power shots before things taper off. Now let's talk sound. Snap the side lever, load the rotary mag, squeeze it off, and what you get out of that silence air baffle system is closer to a soft cough than a bang. Backyard friendly does not even cover it. Mouse fart quiet, dead serious. Chambered in 22 only, and this little carbine throws 22 caliber lead with real authority for its size. Independent testing has clocked heavier domed pellets crossing 700 feet per second, and some lighter alloy rounds sneaking past 800. That puts you in the 20 to 21 foot-pound range. Plenty for pest control, plenty for small game out to 40 yards. Now here is the deal breaker, because every gun on this list has one. Financially, Notos locks you into a fixed 66 cc bottle. There is no swapping it out, no upgrading to a bigger tank down the road. What you buy is what you are stuck with, permanently. If you are the guy who eventually wants to scale up air capacity, this platform will not grow with you. Still, for the price, for a first PCP, for a truck gun you toss in the back seat, the Notos earns its spot. Next up, rank 4 takes us into a whole different category of PCP, the Umarex Origin. This is the rifle that Umarex built specifically to kill the excuse, "I don't have a way to fill it." Because Origin does not just come with the gun, it ships as a complete kit, bundled with a 3-stage HPA hand pump rated to 4,500 PSI. Open the box, and you are shooting the same day. No compressor, no scuba tank, no trip to the dive shop. Here is the mechanic's insight, and this one is clever. Origin does not run a traditional regulator. Instead, it uses something called the Ever Pressure Tank, or EPT. Picture a small reserve chamber inside the gun that stays pre-charged with air at all times, even when the main bottle reads empty. Because that chamber never fully depressurizes, you skip the brutal introductory pumping most PCP guns demand, just to seat the valve. You are talking 13 strokes to get a full power shot ready to go, and around 120 strokes to top off the entire reservoir for about 40 shots total. Available in 22 and 25 caliber, Origin pushes 25 caliber slugs at 950 feet per second on the big bore version. That is serious knockdown authority for mid-sized nuisance animals. The barrel carries a slow 1 in 19 twist rate, which stabilizes not just standard pellets, but slugs up to 23 grains, letting this thing bridge the gap between backyard plinker and legitimate small game rifle. Now, sensory-wise, squeeze the trigger and you get a sharper, more aggressive crack than you'd expect. Not gentle, more like a slap than a whisper. And that leads into the deal breaker, an air performance quirk this time, not a money issue. Origin does have a shroud built into that barrel, but with the power this thing is putting out, the baffles simply cannot fully tame it. Compared to some quieter guns on this list, Origin runs noticeably louder. If your backyard has close neighbors, that is worth knowing before you commit. Lengthwise, this is a full-size sporting rifle, 43 inches long, 6.8 pounds, so it carries some heft, but that mass helps steady your hold on longer shots. Bottom line, for shooters who want to go from zero to fully self-sufficient PCP ownership in one purchase, Origin remains the value king. I already know some of you traditional firearm guys are shaking your heads right now, thinking none of this compares to a real rifle. Fair enough. But sound off below and tell me, have any of you actually taken game with a PCP setup like these? Because the guys who have know exactly why this list is heating up. All right, let's keep climbing. Stepping up the power now. Rank 3 belongs to the Venturi Avenger. And this is where PCP shooting starts feeling less like a hobby and more like precision engineering. Sitting around 300 to 350 depending on stock material, Avenger undercuts guns that cost triple by handing you controls normally reserved for the $1,000 club. Here is the mechanic's insight, and this is the deep cut. Most budget PCP guns bury their regulator inside the action. You want to adjust it, you are stripping the whole gun down. Avenger flips that. There is an external regulator adjustment screw sitting right near the trigger guard, paired with dual gauges, one reading your main bottle up to 4,350 psi, the other reading the regulated plenum pressure directly. On top of that, the hammer spring tension adjusts externally too. That combination lets you dial the entire performance curve of the rifle without ever touching a wrench. Drop the reg down to 2,000 psi and back off the hammer spring and you get a whisper quiet, high shot count, low power tune. Crank the reg to 2,900 psi and max the hammer spring. And 22 caliber loads are clearing 34 foot-pounds, pushing heavy pellets past 1,000 feet per second. Caliber-wise, Avenger spits 177, 22 and 25 cal lead, available in synthetic, wood, or bullpup configurations. Sound-wise, under a full power tune, this rifle transitions from a soft cough to something closer to a sharp crack of dry wood snapping. Still nowhere near a firearm, but noticeably punchier than the Notos we started with. And accuracy is not hype here. Reviewers consistently land sub-MOA groups at 100 yards, paired with premium slugs like JSB Jumbo Heavies. Now, the deal breaker, and this one is pure ergonomics. That dual gauge, dual adjustment system is powerful, but it is also fiddly. Dial in the wrong combination of regulator pressure and hammer spring tension, and you can actually starve the gun of air mid-shot string, causing inconsistent velocity until you retune it. This is not a buy-it-and-forget-it rifle. It rewards patience and punishes shortcuts. For the tinkerer who wants total control over their rifle's personality, Avenger is nearly unmatched at this price point. Entering the elite tier now, rank 2 is the Umarex Gauntlet 2, And this is where PCP shooting stops being about finesse and starts being about raw, magnum-level authority. Gauntlet 2 builds directly on the original Gauntlet's legacy, the gun that first proved a regulated PCP could sell for under $300. This sequel doubles down on air capacity instead of just chasing price. Here is the mechanic's insight. Umarex swapped the original's 13 cubic inch 3000 PSI bottle for a massive 24 cubic inch aluminum tank rated to 4500 PSI. That is not a small bump. That is nearly double the stored air. Paired with a regulator set anywhere from 1900 PSI on the 22 up to 2800 PSI on the big bore 30 caliber, that huge reservoir means the regulator has far more usable air to work with before pressure drops below its threshold. Translation: way more consistent shots per fill than guns running smaller bottles. And the numbers back it up. 22 caliber shooters are getting around 70 consistent shots per charge. 25 caliber sits around 50. Power output scales just as hard. 33 foot-pounds on the 22, 51 on the 25, and on the 30 caliber version, 99 foot-pounds. Let that sink in. That is coyote medicine, not backyard plinking. Available in 22, 25, and 30 cal. Gauntlet 2 throws serious weight downrange, especially with that 30 cal spitting heavy lead, capable of dropping predator-sized game. Sensory-wise, with that much air moving through the system on every shot, you would expect a roar, but the 28¼ inch barrel is absolutely stuffed with baffles, so what you actually hear is a muted, throaty thump rather than a crack. Now, the deal breaker. And this time, it is aesthetics and build. That massive 24 cubic inch bottle adds serious bulk and weight. This rifle tips the scales at 8.5 pounds, noticeably heavier and more front-loaded than everything else on this list so far. Some shooters love the tank-like presence. Others find it cumbersome for all-day carry through the woods. One more thing worth noting. Filling a bottle this size to 4500 PSI by hand pump will absolutely wreck your shoulder. This is a compressor gun, full stop, budget for one. Still, for hunters who want magnum power with regulator consistency, Gauntlet 2 is nearly untouchable at this price. Closer to the crown now, and rank 1 belongs to a name that has been earning respect in this hobby longer than half these newer guns have existed. The Benjamin Marauder. Let's be real, Marauder does not win on flashy numbers. It wins because it nailed the fundamentals so hard, nothing else on this list has fully dethroned it. Here is the mechanic's insight. Standard Marauder skips a true external regulator, relying instead on a balanced valve design. Think of it as a self-regulating door inside the valve. Spring tension and air pressure work against each other to release a nearly identical volume of air on every shot, without needing an adjustable reg to do it. It is simpler than what you saw on the Avenger, but Crosman tuned it so well from the factory that it delivers 30 to 40 consistent shots per fill at 3000 PSI, no fiddling required. Now for the comparison, because this rifle earns its throne by outclassing what came before it. Remember the Gauntlet 2's shot count, 70 shots on the 22? Marauder cannot touch that on raw numbers. But where Marauder demolishes the Gauntlet is refinement. That factory 2-stage match-grade trigger breaks clean under 3 pounds. Something Gauntlet's stock trigger simply cannot match. And the internal shroud makes Marauder measurably quieter than Gauntlet's baffled but bulkier barrel. And against the Avenger gives you more adjustability, sure, but Marauder gives you that adjustability's end result, straight out of the box, with zero tuning required. Sound-wise, this is the quietest gun on the entire list. The mechanical clack of the hammer striking is honestly louder than the air escaping the muzzle. Dead silent, just the hammer striking. That is not marketing copy. That is the actual shooting experience. Chambered in 177, 22 and 25 cal. The standard 22 version spits lead at right around 30 foot-pounds, more than enough to put down small game at 50 yards with total confidence. Now, the deal breaker, because even the king has a flaw. Financially, if you want the full experience with a factory-installed regulator, you are stepping outside the standard lineup and into Crosman's custom shop, which adds real cost on top of an already premium price tag. But here is why it still takes the crown. It gives you the trigger feel and near-silent operation. Nothing else on this list matches. Wrapped around a platform so proven, gunsmiths have been building custom rigs off this action for over a decade. Rank 1. Locked in. Look, 5 rifles, 5 completely different reasons to own one. The Notos proved you do not need deep pockets to get regulated performance. The Origin killed the excuse that filling a PCP is too complicated. The Avenger handed tinkerers total control over their rifle's personality. The Gauntlet 2 brought Magnum-level authority most guys did not know existed at this price. And the Marauder just kept doing what it has always done, outclassing rifles that showed up decades after it did. Here is the truth nobody tells you walking into this hobby. It is not about which one is objectively best. It is about which flaws you can live with. Every single rifle on this list has a deal breaker. The question is whether that deal breaker matters for how you actually shoot. If you are new to PCP, start simple. If you already know your way around a regulator, start tuning. Either way, now you know exactly what is moving units on Amazon right now, and exactly why. Keep your pellets dry and your aim true.